Today's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Do you feel like you are stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all the trips to the grocery store. Count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. With over 25 recipes to choose from each week, there is something for everyone to enjoy, and all recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. And this week, one of the better things that they are offering is a balsamic fig chicken. Seems like it would taste really good. Go to the link in our show notes to get $80 off, including free shipping on HelloFresh and the number one meal kit. Welcome to West Virginia and Commonplace. Today we have an episode that is a part of the Love series. It's a series that I've been doing for quite some time. It's a quicker and a closer way to get closer to me, I guess. This episode is entitled Romance My Way to the Top, the Woes and the Wows Without the Sex. Now, me personally, myself, growing up, I'm 36 years old now. I used to say 35 so many times, I was getting used to that. The thing that I noticed growing up, we were taught a way of romance. And when I'm talking about romance, I'm not talking about you just go buy some flowers or you get a card and you just give it to whoever you're dating. Not talking anything like that. We were taught this famous word that I preach so much. It's called intimacy. Intimacy was taught to me at a young age. I probably like around 3 or 4 years old. My mom and my dad would always sit me down when they had to talk to me about something, and they would look me square in the face so that I could understand who I'm talking to and no distractions or anything. And sometimes in life, I've strayed away from that. I don't always look at the person I'm talking to, but they taught me this little intimacy thing, and this was this clear and crisp direction of whatever you're trying to communicate. So from that point on, I went to elementary school and met a young lady there. Her name was Brandy. God rest her soul, because she did pass away. And that's not a recurring theme in my life. That's just something that just happened later on, I guess. And she was the first girl that I liked, you know. So back then we used to write things down on paper, and I barely. And I'd say I was in transitional first grade because I didn't do too well in kindergarten. So I wrote her this letter, and my handwriting was good, but some of my words weren't all together. And I kind of just put the little heart in a box with a check mark and then an X. And she checked inside the one that obviously I wanted, which was, that was the first time that I didn't fail at something. So okay, so me and Brandy were boyfriend and girlfriend for about maybe 14 days, and then sadly she moved away. Nothing there. And then later on, I go on third, fourth grade, whatever. Everybody's having good times. But by the time I reached middle school, and in Virginia, where I'm from, middle school starts in fifth grade. I had already kind of figured that I was going to be a lover man or lover boy, whatever you want to call me. So there was quite a few people that I liked, and it was one lady in particular that I liked. So I went out here and I realized that, hey, some people will find credibility in how you do something for them. So back then we had tapes and we had CDs, but I was one of the lucky ones to have a CD burner. And my older sister, Valen, explained to me that when you have a technology like that, you can use that to your advantage. And even later on in life, I would do this. So my sister taught me to make a mix CD, because beforehand my mom and dad, they used to make mixtapes and different things like that, which I made one mixtape in my life, like legitimately recording songs off a dual deck. And I learned that that was not the way for me. So I went ahead and that's probably what started my bootlegging and different things that I did later on in life with music. Everybody had Napster then. So I asked the young lady 5 songs that she liked, and then I put 5 songs on there that I liked. So after the CD burnt back then, it would take like an hour to burn 12 songs. Yes, it did. And I burnt the CD and everything was fine. Then my sister added something extra in there. My sister came through with the nail polish, and she did all kinds of designs and put the young lady's name on there. And then she presented to take the, we called them jewelry cases, which that was the CD case. And she took the CD case and she started doing, putting the nail polish on that too, doing some extra designs. So my sister's doing all this, and I'm thinking, oh no, my sister's gonna charge me. So either way, my sister did all that, put the CD in. I wrote the track list on the inside so she would know what she's listening to. And anyway, went back to school, handed it to a young lady. Young lady listened to it. A day later, I got her phone number. Now back then, getting a phone number was the greatest thing on earth because we could talk on the phone, up until 8 o'clock in the evening. So that was my first fray into you know, building up a romance. So we would go on field trips, me and this young lady. And whenever we would go on these field trips, I would have my mom make something special for lunch. Even though my mom wasn't even that great at fixing anything, she would just pack the right snacks and we would just talk about everything. And I didn't realize at a young age, at 10 or 11, that that conversation that you develop with someone goes way more than the physical portion. Because anybody can, you know, provide you kissing, holding hands, but the times like when we went to Monticello, which is in Virginia, went to Monticello, we just held hands, talked a little bit, and just because it was the right lighting and the teacher that was there on this trip was awesome and took that picture, that person still has a picture of me and them back then, and always says that's one of the sweetest times that they had. So we fast forward on in life because I'm not going to go deep in detail to every single encounter in my life. Um, we'll run around about eighth grade right before I got into high school. That was the pivotal time. You're 13, 14, and some people were 15 because they failed. But at that time, I truly had an arc about me. I had mastered writing letters. I could write you 100 words, 100 word letter in like 10 minutes and it would sound good. I studied a lot of poetry. I read a lot of poetry, maybe not studied. So I was pretty good. So um, anybody that I dated in between in there, I would find poetry and I would always give credit to the people that wrote the poetry, but I would put my twist on it at the end and then add in something that incorporated how I was feeling. Um, and along that way, like I said, once again, that whole communication deal right there. I constantly always worked on how to make the painting that I'm painting for whoever I'm dating, the painting that they want to see. It was never about what it was for me because I knew regardless that the effort that I put into it would result in something great for me. So I continued this on. Um, and then through high school, you know how high school is. You have your ups and downs. And that's where more of the physical comes in for some people and some people it doesn't. And the one thing that I noticed in the dating pool back then in high school was that there were there were three types of people. There was the person that hit the home run, as they would say. There was a person that hit a single, and then there was a person that would hit a triple. Well, I wasn't any of those people. I was the guy that came up to bat because the pitcher couldn't bat. So, being that guy, I kind of learned that sometimes the romance is not all. It doesn't all have to be so drawn out. It's something that you can make very fast and efficient, and that's where the whirlwind romance developed. That's something that would carry on with me throughout the rest of my life, because I realized that you could amplify everything that I was doing. Um, but you could do it way quicker, way better than what I had was doing. Because these things will be drawn out very long with the romance as a younger man, and it would lead to heartache that would last longer than should have when I was younger. Lessons learned to myself, I believe. Um, so as I got older, I realized that an art that died was the art of chivalry, being kind, opening a door for someone. And I'm talking about just on a simple date, opening a door for someone, holding their hand. Because a lot of people date people, don't even hold their hands, don't kiss them in public, no type of public affection that I see that you see very often. It's usually we're just walking, you walk ahead or you walk beside each other or whatever. So with that being said, I don't pay attention to those to very, very small details like that, but that's something that catches on. And uh the other part inside this thing is being attentive. In the very first bit of time that you're talking to someone, uh in the dating process, right? I've noticed that if I start talking to you in August and we're not serious, we're not seeing each other, but we build a constant communication. I'm learning about you, you're learning about me. We're taking the time to like when you're going to school, you basically learn each other. Um so that you don't lose each other, because if you don't learn them, you're going to lose them. Um and after that time, when it actually comes time to meet, or if we meet fairly quick, if I talk to you on Friday and we decide to go out on a date on Monday, um, I would make sure I had a vast amount of knowledge about you, and that I would go back in my mind somehow, because I got a computer inside my head. It used to be a Pentium, then it went to an Intel, now it's the new Apple chip. Um, and I would pick out certain things about you that were going to be very easy for me to remember, but at the same time, I would be like, man, if somebody remembered this about me, would this be important to me if someone reiterated it to me? And I'm like, yeah. So, like for me, for instance, the whole thing with me was, if you knew that I like Mega Man, or if you knew that I like Mario or Zelda, and you had just a reference to anything, you didn't even have to know anything about it. You could have just got on Google, or you could have went into your brother's video game collection and looked at Zelda and be like, oh, this game's called Link to the Past. If you just said that to me, that would wow me enough to spark up a better conversation with me, or get me involved myself. So right then and there, that was a simple part of romance there. So you do this build up, then you actually get on the date. And when I get on the date, I would always flutter, or I'm not going to say any bad words, but I say I'd mess up the date, because I'm going to sit there and I'm going to be like, oh, I don't know what I want to eat, you don't know what you want to eat. And in this very instance, I'll give a great example. I know she won't mind me doing this. When Stacy and I went on our first date ever, we sat in a parking lot of Walmart for almost 2 hours, right across the street from an Applebee's. And yes, Applebee's is a staple of the restaurants that I eat at. Applebee's every day. Anyway, and that's not a shame. That's not a shameless plug. That's just I eat at Applebee's. Um, Me and Stacy sat there and we talked. And before, the buildup between her and I was very simple. We had started talking over a period of time. We knew each other prior, in the sense of that she ran a store that I used to frequent very much, for French vanilla coffee. That's where the name Frenchie comes from. And we had developed a good conversation. So, there's a lot of. Today's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Do you feel like you are stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all the trips to the grocery store. Count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. With over 25 recipes to choose from each week, there is something for everyone to enjoy, and all recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. And this week, one of the better things that they are offering is a balsamic fig chicken. Seems like it would taste really good. Go to the link in our show notes to get $80 off, including free shipping on HelloFresh and the #1 meal kit.
Hi, I'm Jay Christian, host of the Cognac Room. The Cognac Room is a weekly, uninhibited, drink-infused podcast about adulting and male and female interactions. We discuss everything from money, sex, breakups. You name it, we're getting into it. I have two lovely co-hosts who join me over a nice glass of cognac, and we have a ball. We laugh and we talk trash. So, pull up a chair, pour up a glass, and let's discuss. You can find us on all streaming platforms.
Anticipation to us meeting again. And when we met up, it wasn't that the anticipation wasn't there. We just clearly didn't have no direction on a date, because even as long as we talked, we never sat there and actually decided on what we were going to do on a date. We just wanted to see each other, which in West Virginia, you usually date 70 miles away from where you live, or 77 miles in her case. Nothing on the locals, just whatever. So um, we finally go eat, and we're at Applebee's and we're eating or whatever. And my recollection is very good on things, and her recollection, she probably would not be able to tell you anything about the conversation. But the thing that I do remember is that I had a template set up, and maybe I'm guilty for having that template, but this was the thing. We knew each other's favorite colors. We had a decent amount of knowledge on each other, about our little storied histories and different things like that. Not too personal, but just enough, to make good conversation. The whole date, I kept eye contact on her. I don't even remember what she ordered to eat. I remember back then I was just eating chicken at the time, so I do know that I ate. I know we got a sampler, and the sampler was whatever. But enough about the specifics of the date. The key thing there was that night, me and her didn't go have sex or anything like that. Me and her kissed. I had to go back home, so she took me back to where my transportation was going to take me back home, because I did not have my vehicle at the moment. And we left. From that period on, we didn't date. We didn't go on another date for almost 4.5 weeks. She probably felt like I ghosted her, but we continued to talk. Um, a little bit after Valentine's Day, because like I said, I had other obligations. Everybody knows that with anything I do in life, I'm traveling or I'm on the go. So that's one thing there. Um, Basically, she and I got back together after that, and once again, we went on, I think it was two more dates, and then if something happened, it happened. But we won't have to go into details about that because this episode is not about sex. And from that point on, it was a sparked interest in each other, like that just kept going and going, and that interest kept going for the simple fact that we took time to learn each other, and we built up a romance there, in the sense of that we went and did things together. We traveled. We over time we would go to Virginia Beach for no reason, or we would go to Columbus for no reason. We went to places to eat. We sat and talked. We watched movies. We did every and anything that you could do outside of sex to build a friendship and a great relationship. I brought her into my world of wrestling. She had no interest in wrestling before me. She probably didn't even think about wrestling, and she does more with wrestling than I do. Going to live events, even outside of that. So, the things that break down in the romance portion were like, I learned things that made her happy. I am not a person that takes care of puzzles. I don't do puzzles, but she liked puzzles and board games. So at set periods of time, I make sure we set aside some time to play board games. Like tomorrow night, for instance, I will be sitting here playing a board game. May not be what I want to do, but she does a lot of things that she doesn't want to do. But still, it ties in together that these minor things outside of sex builds up a great relationship. Because the cool thing about building a romance is like, she doesn't know when I'm going to do something sweet or something like that. It's not that I don't do it every single day, but rare occasions, I get a chance that I can just sneak off and go do something. So I will go do something. Our passion for this podcast and different things like that have led us to become closer together, because we're learning the ins and outs and different things like that, so that there's no weirdness or anything when it comes to that. But getting back into this whole romance deal, um before, and there was a split between us, and then we went on with life. Then when we got back together, we had to learn each other again. In the second go round in learning each other, we took way more time to get focused. Obviously, we were a retread like a tire, so obviously sex jumped back into it. But the thing was this time around, like, we sat back and just we've done things the normal, like in a normal sense of like this. She doesn't want to go do something, we're not going to go do it. Um, we enjoy each other's company. Like Valentine's Day, nobody's worried about Valentine's Day. I make that trip down the road, and you may not consider this romance, but I consider romance. I go out there and get this bag of Chick-fil-A ice that she wants, and I know that somewhere deep down, that's something that she's really passionate about. And ice ain't never hurt anybody, so I'll go around the mall and go get this bag of Chick-fil-A ice, lug it around, bring it back here. Half of it's melted, then it freezes up again in the freezer. But that's something that makes her happy. When we go on sightseeing, Niagara Falls, or something like that. Generally for me, I never realized like that not everybody gets a chance to travel and go everywhere. And to me and her now, traveling ain't a thing. We just do it like that. But in certain instances, and I see them back when I look at pictures, like even when we went to Lake Erie one time, it's a simple part of the intimacy that we built up in the years prior. The simple conversations of talking about what I wanted to do in life, what she wanted to do in life, and where she wanted to go. That when we go to these places, you can just see a little spark, a little extra light in her eyes that you normally don't see every single day. So I personally can say that I built my house and I built the castle that I own on romance. I didn't have to go out here and wow with sex. I didn't have to go out here and say anything because I never wooed her or anybody else with the prowess of, oh, I can bust it down in the sheets, or I'm a home wrecker or anything crazy like that in the sheets or something like that. No, I never said anything like that. All I ever did was engage and say that in this whirlwind of romance, you will have a very good time. You will be treated different. You will be treated well. And sometimes things get misconstrued in conversation and things because miscommunications happen. So bad things do happen. I'm not saying everything is peachy and hunky dory, but for a good portion of time, that romance that we developed through text messages before seeing each other screams way louder than um rambunctiously saying, oh, we can go have sex anywhere or we can do everything with sex, and sex is the main ingredient of our relationship. So I want to thank you guys for listening to this. This is once again part of West Virginia and Commonplace's love series. Remember, romance my way to the top, the woes and the wows without the sex. And if anyone would like to comment on this, please go over to our voice support and just let me know how you feel about this episode. If you'd like me to do more episodes like this, and I'm signing off.